welcome back, listeners and viewers. We're here with another episode of the Power of Nine podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert. Today's guest is a strategic business advisor, an engaging facilitator, and one of the kindest, most empathetic leaders I'm fortunate to know. Let's roll up our proverbial sleeves and spend some time getting to know my friend, Laura Cohen. Laura, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, Aaron. It is so fun for me because I'm usually the one asking all the questions.
Oh, that's what I'm talking
about. This will be great.
That's right. I know. And plus, we were kind of preparing for this a couple weeks ago, talking about it, and I got a few notes from you, and there's some interesting stuff I want to dive into. So let's, like I said, let's roll up these proverbial sleeves and let's get to work here. So tell me a little bit about where you're born and raised.
So what's very funny about that is when people say, where are you from? And they mean now, I always refer back to, I was born in Battle Creek, Michigan, cereal capital of the world, mind you.
Cereal, like breakfast cereal?
Yes, correct.
Why is it the cereal capital of the world?
I'm glad you asked. It's Kellogg's is from there, Post, Ralston Wheat, and a couple others as well. So the city itself really had these phenomenal smells, cereal, roasting, that kind of thing.
Did your family have jobs in that industry at all, or adjacent to that industry or anything like that?
Not at all, but they were always wanting to support bringing people there to work. So not necessarily related to working at the actual corporate offices or anything.
Did you have any siblings?
I did, although he's 22 months younger than I am. And I'm not sure he really appreciated that because teachers would always say, hey, why can't you be more like Laura? So it's nice to know that he hasn't held that against me too much.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering do you hear that a lot? Why can't you be more like Laura? Do people tell you that?
Not lately.
All right, we got to crank that up a little bit. We got to turn that up a notch. Tell me about your parents. Were they entrepreneurs? Did they have jobs? What were they into?
What was really a wonderful role model for me is they were always entrepreneurs. They had their own business. And, when you're young, you don't recognize entrepreneur. All you know is that they're working, they're involved in their business, and you get a bird's eye view.
Yeah. Do you think that that's had an impact on how you approached your career?
I do. I think it was kind of undue influence. The big piece of that is take control of your own destiny and then make sure too that there's a way to give back for all the positive things that happen.
Did they create an environment at home to where education was valued and you needed to have good grades and stuff like that? Or were they a little hands off in that respect to where they kind of just let you do your thing?
Oh, no, I think they had high expectations on that aspect. But I think that from the educational aspect, they were very much wanting to share history of different cities and areas. And in our travel and my youth, that was really the emphasis. So it felt more retainable because you're actually seeing different places that have a historical importance.
So if you look back on that, your formidable years, your the years that you're being shaped here, let's call it, 5 to 18, right? Prior to making a decision out of high school and stuff. One of the questions I always like to ask is, where do you think you fell on the continuum of nature versus nurture? And, was it the path that you chose to take? And we'll get into all this stuff, but, kind of foreshadowing into what we're about to talk about and looking into that time. Is it in your blood or is it in the way that you were raised?
I think it's a combination, and that's not an out. It really is. There's certain
Mhm.
things I feel that are innately something I have that's a little bit unique and that I can bring to my business. And then on the other hand, I had good examples of always feeling that I could do that which I put the most effort in and having supportive environment.
I think I remember at one point telling me early on when I first met you that you have ancestors that escaped Russia. Is that a true? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah, that's very true. And I think, just the fact that they were able to persevere, come to the United States and not have anything, but build their future with a business, with community, with family, was a wonderful example of what perseverance can create. And it gave me the courage to do some things like, going into business for yourself, jumping off a cliff without a parachute, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak.
Yeah, it makes the business stuff doesn't seem as daunting when you hear
Right.
stories about your family
I
having to
know.
leave, oppression or a country that is forcing oppression or something like that, right?
Correct.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. I hear you. Were you a good kid or are you a troublemaker? And this is a dumb question. Why am I even asking this?
That's okay.
I can't imagine you're a troublemaker, huh?
I think I'm making up for it now. No.
Well said. Yeah. So all right. So you're a good kid. Good. So obviously we established that you got good grades. Were you a good kid all around? Stayed out of trouble. Any sports or anything like that? Extracurricular activities?
So, what I would say to that is kind of just two quick things. One is when you have parents and family that have a business in the community, you're in a fishbowl. So, there wasn't a lot I could do wrong because they go, "Oh, I'll have to tell your parents we saw you here," or
Right.
something along those lines. And that curtailed some of the things that I was going to be
Yeah.
doing, so to
You
speak.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. And
Oh,
living in farm country, I see that stuff all the time. When I see the neighbor kids tearing around on the road and tearing up our dirt roads and stuff, and I have to go tell their parents that they're tearing it up. It makes it a little harder the next time they got to go rip up the road. So I get that based on even where I live.
yeah, it can happen, that fishbowl. What I would say that was in high school that was unique, I went back to look at my yearbook thinking about that question, and I forgot that I was, involved in journalism, the Journalistic Honor Society, something along those lines, a contributor to the yearbook and the newspaper.
Mhm.
So, therefore, a lot of the question, they used to call me the queen of questions because I was very curious about others and what they knew, did, and stories to share.
Yeah, I'm not going to call myself a journalist at all. I do have a high level of curiosity, which is why I think I like doing this. But me, I just like learning about other people and their stories. And, I say this time and time over, but, I know people, you and I are friends and I know you, but yet I start to peel off layers of this onion as we start to talk about your journey and I learn new things every time. And to me, that is kind of at the core of journalism, right? Of if you're going to go down that journalism path, was that in you early? Were you a curious kid? Were you one of those kids that said why a million times?
Oh, of course. Absolutely. And I'm like you. I mean, so I catch myself doing what I was totally embarrassed about my mother doing. She talked to strangers, the
Mm.
person sitting next to her. She had a keen interest in other people. And I used to be so embarrassed. So when I'm doing it, I'm going, oh, I get it now.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
want to
yeah.
know about people, want to know their story. And there's a lot of small world aspect to that too.
And
Someone knowing someone inadvertently, you could be out of the country and you run into somebody, oh, I know so and so. It's like, whoa.
yeah, and you wonder like the nature, like going back to the nature versus nurture thing. Like you wonder if it's in your blood for asking questions and being curious, or if because you were even at a young age, you were seeing your mom ask questions of strangers and stuff like that, that helped fuel that. I don't know. I mean, obviously an easy answer, which I do think is going to be, it's a dumb question to say, where do you think you fall in that continuum? Because I think you are a blend of every one of those. But like that example is firsthand nature versus nurture.
Yeah, good observation. I
Well,
like it.
it's the truth, right? Like, I just feel like there's so much in that to where you don't even think about it until you actually start diving into it. That like, man, in your situation, my mom was asking a lot of questions, was curious. I wonder if I picked up on that.
Right. And especially since I was so embarrassed at the
Yeah,
time.
right. Yeah, if anything, it maybe push you away from doing that, but maybe you leaned into it as you got a little bit more confident and a little bit older, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So you mentioned, as we get in down your journey here, journalism plays a large role in a lot of the roles that you played into your career and stuff. That being said, was that foundation all built? Did you fall in love with that with journalism and writing and all of the things that go along with storytelling in high school?
I think what I liked about it initially was the opportunity to really be in a position where you would know everything that's going on, what people were doing, and really have my pulse on the feel of what's happening in my world from that
Mhm.
perspective. Did I actually ever think I would be a great journalist? Probably not, because in thinking at one point that maybe, being on TV or reporter or something, well, that idea got killed when I did a little preview thing for one of my classes, and they said to me, "I hope you're not really bent on being a reporter. You sound too happy to be a reporter," and I'm like, "Okay,
It's
then
nuts.
I
Yeah,
guess
right.
that's out."
Yeah, that's crazy to me. Like, and I think in some respects it depends on what you're reporting on, right? Like, I don't think a reporter needs to go and do the sad stories or the depressing stories or anything like that. There's certain, I mean, I even think that we could probably look at our local stations here and in the Twin
Right.
Cities, and there's certain people that just do a great job of the positive storytelling, and they're probably not the best at the negative ones. So that's interesting. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that put a kibosh on things. I thought I needed a broader educational experience.
Yeah. Where did you go? Where'd you go to college?
My freshman and sophomore year, I went to Bradley University, and then I'm not really sure, but I transferred to the University of Oklahoma in Norman. They had a really good journalism school at the time. I think my parents were pretty amazing to say, "Oh yeah, sure, fine, go."
Wow.
And
Yeah.
it was a unique experience for sure. I don't think they were counting on me coming back with an accent though.
Did,
Yeah.
I don't pick up on one. Did you have a Southern accent?
But, when you first come back from school, being immersed around people who do, yeah, you sort of pick that up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. What was so were you all in on was it journalism that you went to school for, and were you all in on journalism? Let's we don't have to talk about Bradley. Let's talk more about like the last couple of years in Oklahoma and things like that. Was that the direction that you chose to go as you decided to go down there?
Well, I actually switched classes because, or concentration, wanted a more general, broad education. And at the time, it just felt like I had a keen interest in philosophy, in
Mm.
sociology, in some other areas that just felt like it allowed me to explore those a little bit more. Calculus, not so much.
Yeah, right. Me neither. Any of the math stuff. Economics was the best I was at, but after that, it was any other math related things. Forget it.
Oh, that makes me great to hear. It's kind of like, am I going to ever use this?
Yeah.
Probably not.
Yeah, I think we do in some situations, but it's a learned way of doing it rather than the way that they teach it in school. I mean, we probably could
Yes.
go down 9 ways to Sunday on how weird the education system is and how broken it is, but at the end of the day, like they would have put you in a little bit of a bucket, and you got to figure out your way out.
Exactly.
Yep. Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. So let's take a quick break here. I want to dive into your career journey a little bit. So let's take a quick break. Let's listen to a few of our community supporters, and we're going to be right back here with Laura Cohen.
Security Bank and Trust has been a community supporter and the banking partner of Coalition9 since our inception. One of my favorite things about partnering with Security Bank and Trust is that I have a significant relationship at multiple levels within the bank. From grabbing lunch and building a personal friendship with the president, Andy, to welcoming multiple employees as C9 members, to seeing Andy's smiling face when I swing by the Eden Prairie branch, they get relationships and the banking needs of a business like ours. Check them out at security-banks.com. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender. Security Bank and Trust, growing together. As a boutique Twin Cities-based investment banking firm, Madeira Partners works closely with family, founder, and management-owned businesses, bringing over 25 years of experience and hundreds of successful transactions to the table. It's in their DNA to educate owners on what potential exit opportunities look like, along with any industry or company-specific things to think about to make your business more attractive to potential buyers. Regardless if you want to sell tomorrow or in 10 years, the team at Madeira Partners would love to provide their expertise and guidance along the way. Take some time to explore their website at MadeiraPartners.com. Madeira Partners, your life's work deserves our best work. Regardless if you're a startup just figuring things out or a medium-sized organization with a full team, having a legal partner by your side is crucial. Seiler Law is fiercely loyal to their clients and are passionate about removing headaches and roadblocks that can pop up during the growth of your business. Whether you need general outside counsel, are planning a business transaction, or even need someone to guide you through the estate planning process, the team at Seiler Law are the advocates for you. Visit SeilerLaw.com to learn more. Seiler Law, where experience meets pragmatism. Every year brings new challenges for Minnesota business leaders, and USI Insurance is here to take the pressure off of the employee benefits decision. Having a local presence with national resources, USI combines a client-centric culture with leading-edge technical resources so you can make an informed decision on your benefits investment. The USI team has been deeply committed to investing into our local communities and utilizes their expertise to provide solutions you can count on to protect your greatest asset, your employees. USI has been partnering with Twin Cities businesses for decades, and they would welcome the opportunity to do the same for you. Visit USI.com to learn how USI's approach to risk management and employee benefits delivers customized, actionable solutions with bottom-line impact. Kaisa Wealth Management treats each client like a member of the family. Acting as your personal CFO, we are fiercely devoted to your financial prosperity. At Kaisa, our wealth strategies are aligned with your core values, creating a wealth plan centered around legacies you wish to create. This is our Kaisa commitment. Our wealth strategies are dynamic and tailor-made for your long-term goals because as a fee-only investment firm, excellence in service is not just a promise, it's our baseline. Whether it's selling a business, planning succession, creating a legacy, navigating life challenges like death or divorce, supporting executives on the move, planning retirement, or preserving family wealth, we are here for you. Find out how we can help to simplify your wealth at KaisaWealth.com. United Healthcare is dedicated to helping people live healthier lives and making the health system work better for everyone by simplifying the healthcare experience, meeting consumer health and wellness needs, and sustaining trusted relationships with care providers. UHC is continually focused on building a modern, high-performing health system via improved access, affordability, outcomes, and experiences. With a network of over 1.6 million physicians and healthcare professionals in over 6,000 hospitals, United Healthcare is dedicated to connecting employers and their employees to better health by offering quality benefits designed for affordability. For more information, visit United Healthcare at www.uhc.com. United Healthcare, helping people live healthier lives. Mason Jar Marketing helps businesses bridge the gap between marketing and sales so they can crush goals. They're a collaborative partner, one who translates strategic priorities into actionable, goal-aligned tactics. You can count on them to deliver creative expertise and flawless execution for all marketing channels, no hand-holding required. If you're ready for a partner who listens well, thinks big, acts fast, and drives results, schedule a complimentary marketing needs assessment at masonjarmarketing.com.
And we're back here with Laura Cohen. Laura, you grew up in Michigan. You go to college in Oklahoma. So did you go back to Michigan? Did you stay in Oklahoma? And then eventually, how did you get to Minnesota?
So I moved back to Michigan, and I always knew I wanted to go to a larger city. I did not know anyone here. I didn't have a job, but I took a week and came here and stayed at a hotel, rented a car, and explored it. And almost everybody I interviewed with said, give us a call when you move here, which I can appreciate. Is she serious? We're not going to bring her in. So Minneapolis seemed very conquerable. Numeric streets, alphabetical streets, not so bad. I figured I could do it.
Yeah. And you're talking about Minneapolis. St. Paul has none of that. They have got some numerical and the alphabetical it is not alphabetical. There's letters in there and there's words in there, but that's about as far as it goes from an alphabetical standpoint. Yeah. So, all right. So I want to unwind that a little bit. Like, so think back on that, like whatever, like 20, let's call it 22 years old, 23, 21, whatever it is, early 20s. And you're literally just like, I'm going to go check out Minneapolis, St. Paul. I'm going to check out the Twin Cities. I don't think I could have ever done that at 20 something years old. That says a lot about like how you're wired and how you were wired into where you're just like, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm not going to go to the Detroit route. That's easy. I'm not going to go to Indianapolis. I'm not going to go to Chicago. Like I'm going to go across the biggest lake and I'm going to go see what Minneapolis is up to. That to me is a crazy thought process when you're in your early 20s.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. I always attribute it to naivety. I didn't know enough to be nervous or scared. And I actually thought, well, you can't always leave. But in this case, I thought going and doing, the worst that could happen is I could always make another decision. It wasn't engraved in stone. I attribute a lot that my parents wanted me to explore other cities and not try and keep me within their, reach, mileage wise or otherwise.
Were you pretty mature, a young person?
I'm not really sure. That's a good question. I'd have to think about that. I think, when people make comments like you do, like, oh, I couldn't do that. I start to think that either I was really brave or something else. I'm not really sure.
Right. Well, some people might like, are you confident? Are you brave? Are you dumb?
I know. I was going to say that,
I know you were going to. Yeah, I knew you wanted to say it. So screw it. I'll say it. But like to me, like ignorance is bliss sometimes, right? Like you don't know what you don't know. So I'm not going to say dumb. Dumb's the wrong word. But like to me, like a little bit on the ignorant side, like I think it's a fascinating perspective and I've talked to other people on this podcast where they've made bold moves in their early 20s and that will continue along their life, or they didn't like it. So then they take more of a safe route or something like that, where then you've got people like me that are the opposite, to where I just needed to build up that confidence. I was a different person in my early 20s than I was, at 30, and I needed a little bit more life experience. It just says, it's fascinating to me, just decisions and how they're made and how it plays a role in the trajectory of your career / journey.
Well, it's really kind of funny. I was a part of a sorority in college, and I remember one of the sorority sisters saying, Minneapolis is really a nice area. So I guess that stuck with me.
Yeah, that's not bad. So what was your first air quotes? What was your first real job in Minneapolis?
So I think it's kind of funny. It was at KSTP FM, where I was responsible for the commercial traffic on the radio, not the flyover traffic, but the advertising. And it was pretty funny. I was driving home one day after work, and you're not supposed to put certain commercials back to back. Mm-hmm. So when I was driving home, I heard the Weight Watcher commercial that, I'd put in. And then the next thing I hear is the Dairy Queen commercial. And I was like, oh my God, somebody's not going to want to pay for that.
Well, one of the two is not going to be happy, and I think it's probably going to be Weight Watchers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Dairy Queen probably loved it.
Yeah, live and learn, live and learn.
Yeah. Okay, so how much time did you spend there? Was that just a first gig and you were just getting some time under your belt?
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was. And what was funny is the people from Michigan or other areas would say, are you trying to be a Mary Tyler Moore? And I go, not exactly, not
Yeah.
exactly. But I got a lot of that.
Yeah. So how long did you spend there?
I was trying to remember, not overly long, maybe almost 2 years.
Oh,
I
okay.
would,
Good standard first job.
yeah.
Yeah. What'd you do then?
So after that, there was a company in town that I was hired to be manager of their mail order division. They were a catalog driven business, and they needed someone to come in and manage the whole United States in terms of that. So it was kind of interesting because, they say, well, do you think you can do et cetera, all these? And I thought, oh, sure, why not? At the time, I think it's the kind of thing that you wouldn't necessarily have experience in. So,
Mhm.
yeah.
And that was outside of journalism. And did you feel like you were missing something by going that direction and not leaning in on anything related to journalism?
No, not necessarily. I kept thinking, experience. The more you have, the better it is to understand different businesses and learn what you possibly can from that, and the people who had unique and different expertise.
I think I remember at one point you saying that you did have a company, you started a company. What was that company? And give me a time, age range here of when you did that.
Well, no age range, but it was a small bedding manufacturing company. I think that the interesting thing for me at that time was really diving in and being able to figure out how best to create a product, be efficient about it, and create relationships with distributors who could ultimately be the sellers of the product.
So how long did you have that company?
A couple years, probably maybe 3, 4 years. And a distributor who had been purchasing the product had wanted to buy, he felt that it would be less expensive to buy the company than to be purchasing it. It was just good timing, I think.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Yeah. So in your career trajectory, when did that fall?
I would say that fell before I started working for Meet Minneapolis, the marketing arm of Minneapolis.St.Paul. And that was just a unique situation. I had a friend that was the vice president of marketing there, and she just said, "What's next for you?" And I said, "I'm exploring that." She said, "I've got an idea for you." So it was that type thing.
Yeah. And did that give you the opportunity? You're pretty dialed in and plugged in, and you know a lot of different people throughout the Twin Cities. Was that kind of the catalyst on that, of like it just gave you the ability to go out and meet new people, be just a kind of a part of the business community?
Yes, and I really it meant a need for me of curiosity, learning about people's businesses, and for me to identify ways that I could connect them to opportunities that would be beneficial for them by the business that was brought in by the organization. So it really was a great experience in that regard.
And how long did you spend there?
10 years.
10 years. Okay, so that's a healthy amount of time. Was that your last job before you started doing your own thing?
No, what happened is the publisher of Minneapolis.St.Paul magazine sat on the board of Meet Minneapolis. And one day she approached me and said, we're thinking about doing this project. What do you think about coming over and working on it? And I thought, I was complacent. It was great. I loved my job, but did I want to stay stagnant? No. So I took the leap. shape, and then went over to work on a special project for them. And then from there, I went into my own consulting practice.
I've never heard these words come out of your mouth, but I'm going to pressure test this a little bit. I mean, everything I've heard to this point is you're a salesperson. Right?
Now that's so funny because it's like, no,
I know that, but like, I got to tell you, like the roles that you've played and the curiosity and all the things you do at the end of the day, like, I get it. We're all in sales, right? In some aspect or another, even, now with your business and what you do, you're in sales, whether you like it or not. Even if I talk to fractional CFOs or COOs, the biggest challenge for them is sales. It's sales, sales, sales. But your whole, like, everything that you've done, and which is super cool that I've never heard those words come out of your mouth, and I've never thought of putting you in that characterization, but it's all been sales.
Well, how I like to think about it is promotion. I love promoting and giving visibility to other businesses and individuals. And so when I was working on the special project for Minneapolis.St.Paul magazine, it was through their custom publishing. And it was really promoting, it was unique in that it was promoting how Minneapolis.St.Paul was a good place to recruit executives and putting to rest and dispelling some myths. So I would say, I understand what you're saying about the sales piece. I always like to say it's more about promoting and elevating people and businesses.
It's all sales.
I knew you were going to say that.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, to me, I think there's some salespeople that are just better promoters and client advocates, or, whatever that might be. And, I don't know if you're a detail driven person or a non-detail driven person, but like, for me, that to me is like kind of some of the things that you're talking about. And I'm not going to go down a rabbit hole on this, but it screams hunter, right? Like, you've got the ability to promote, you've got the ability to go out and find new business, find new members, find new whatever. But, some people have it in them and some people don't, to be that promoter. And it just screams it. It screams sales and it screams hunter.
Well, here's where I got into trouble somewhat. I'm very much a relationship person and wanting it to be the right thing for the business or the company. And when it wasn't, I didn't force something to happen to meet a number. Mm-hmm. So in other words, my theory was that I had to be honest about it because it always comes back at you. So I would, in some cases, say, I'm not so sure that's a great fit. But of course, then, people want to do but I needed to put it out there if I really didn't think it was the right thing for them.
So as you made the decision to go out on your own and do your own thing, you've got all this experience, you've built all these relationships. Tell me a little bit about your business and why you decided to go this direction.
Well, what happened is people on the side would approach me and say, hey, can you help me with this project or identify a solution to my problem? And I was doing it, gratis, if you will, because I always want to help people. But then it dawned on me that I could help more people if I had my own business. And so I did that leap off the cliff without a parachute. It's like, okay, here we go.
Yeah. And little commercial on your business. Here's your chance, right? So how do you impact businesses? How do you impact people? And what are some of the things that you provide?
Well, I would say that I'm able to really deep dive into a person's business and identify areas that either could be improved or more efficient or something unique. I'm not a cookie cutter person that only provides one thing for my client. It's really about them. And the more I learn about them, I'm able to identify what those opportunities are and personalize it, make it a little bit more unique. And I really, really love working with entrepreneurs, solopreneurs, because I feel they want to spend more time on their expertise, but they don't know how to move the needle. So I only want to work with those that are successful, that really want that accountability or someone to identify new opportunities or a different way of looking at something.
With the kind of the gig economy becoming more of a thing, that term fractional is becoming more of a thing. And you talked about solopreneurs, which I'm going to put in that same bucket and things like that. Have you gotten a little more busy over the last handful of years because of that kind of advent of people going out on their own, quitting their corporate jobs or quitting their day jobs or whatever and solopreneuring it?
I would say that yes. I had a client who worked for Mosaic, and the corporate offices moved to Florida. She was an executive HR, and she wanted to launch her own business as a HR global consultant. And she and I had been on a board together, and we got to talking, and she then said, I want your help to do this, to launch. And so that gave me an opportunity because her company was moving. She felt like it now was the time to do that. What I will say and what I've learned is I want to make sure that it's a win-win. And in some cases, if I feel I'm not the right person for that particular potential client, I love having other resources I can send them to. There's a lot of things I can do, but what I'm learning is more what I want to be doing and being careful not to take on those things. I'd rather not do as much when there's other people who are far more expert.
And there's something empowering to be able to choose the type of people that you do business with. There's the type of work that you do. You're not only are you, a consultant / coach in that respect, you're a C9 facilitator for us, and your group loves you. And we get rave reviews from your group. You're a facilitator for, I think, are you a facilitator for Lonnie Bassa and the BWC?
Yes,
yep.
I am.
Great group.
I have to say how grateful I am for those experiences. I love facilitating. Yeah. It's very exciting for me to hear what others in their business are doing and see the magic happen where others are supporting each other, sharing knowledge. It does not feel like any kind of work or effort because it's such a fabulous experience. And I would say Coalition9 is an amazing organization. I think what you do for your members is make it a wonderful experience. And I love being part of something that is about relationships in a very authentic way.
Can I cut that and just put that in a commercial?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Oh, Laura, you're so great. There's the promoter in you coming out. That last 15 seconds, 20 seconds is the promoter in you coming out full-fledged. So tell me, okay, so we got a good feel for what you do now. What does the future hold for you, right? Like, and I don't want to go all businessy and stuff. I feel like you're in a really good, from what I know about you, is you're in a really good position from a career standpoint. Travel, what kind of stuff you got going on in the future that you've got on the horizon?
So I'm a lifelong learner. And so I try and push myself to try and do new things. I just finished up with a 6-week Tai Chi class. And it was interesting to me. It was actually very helpful and de-stressing. De-stressing. It was very good. And there's unique other educational opportunities. I think I'm always fascinated about other subjects. I think traveling is in the picture. I'll have to get more clients to be able to do that, by the way.
There you go. Yeah. Clients in different countries too, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's time for 9 questions. Let's do this. Let's take a quick break. Let's listen to a few more of our community supporters, the people that help make this show possible, are a big part of why Coalition 9 exists, obviously, in addition to our members and awesome people like you. So let's take a few minutes here. Let's listen to a few of our community supporters, and we're going to come back with 9 questions with Laura.
Tell me if this sounds familiar. Your business is having challenges with adding revenue, or you're ready for quicker growth and scale. Your sales team lacks a coach or mentor to help guide and excel their production, and you're not quite sure who the best resource is for sourcing and replacing sales professionals on your team. When you're looking for a company that provides sales solutions that drive growth, look up Sales Homie. Sales Homie is the premier fractional CRO or VP sales agency, additionally offering sales recruiting and placement services, sales leadership coaching, and sales team training programs. Don't put your business at risk with low revenues and uninspired sales professionals. Learn more about Sales Homie by visiting their website at saleshomie.com. Sales Homie, sales solutions that drive growth.
Tradition Capital Bank is a local bank that has the products and capabilities to service middle market companies, nonprofits, and their owners, employees, and families by offering a high-touch approach paired with customizable solutions. Think of them as your nimble ally serving with generosity, care, and precision. Tradition starts with the assumption that there's always more to learn, try, and discover, aiming to find the best yes for whomever they have the privilege of working beside. From a foundation of trust, Tradition takes disciplined, smart risks to help people grow beyond what they even thought possible. Tradition Capital Bank is the second largest privately owned bank headquartered in the Twin Cities, and with locations in Edina, Wayzata, and North Oaks, Minnesota, alongside their office in Scottsdale, Arizona, Tradition Capital Bank is committed to big bank offerings with a small bank ethos. Let their team be the friend you need in your next financial move. The topic of talent is hot in organizations of any size, and I would argue none more than small to mid-sized businesses. That's why it's crucial to have a partner to help you navigate all the HR idiosyncrasies so you can focus on working on your business and not in it. Insperity is a full-service HR partner with a high-touch, high-tech platform helping owners work through challenges like employee retention, company culture, and benefits, just to name a few. Do yourself a favor and explore all they have to offer at Insperity.com. Insperity, HR that makes a difference.
Verseek Search and Consulting is thrilled to support Coalition 9 for an exciting year ahead. Verseek is a Minnesota-based, high-performance recruiting firm that specializes in interim solutions, direct hire, and executive leadership search. Our team of experienced professionals and seasoned leaders across various areas of expertise and industries have been in your shoes. Your company's success hinges on the capacity of your people, and few areas of your business are more critical than your finance and accounting team. You need talent who can move the needle while winning the trust of leaders and stakeholders in your organization. Your people make it possible. Verseek can help connect you with the talented candidates within finance and accounting for consulting or direct hire needs, as well as within other industry areas in executive search, direct hire, and interim solutions. People are the ultimate business advantage. Find your people together with Verseek and make the best possible for your business. Learn more by visiting Verseek.com and by following Verseek on LinkedIn.
When you think of a typical CPA firm, you probably think of tax planning. Well, that just scratches the surface of what Boulay offers their clients. By providing smart, in-depth thinking from experts in accounting, audit, tax, and business consulting, they know what it takes to achieve financial success. Whether it's protecting your business, building your wealth, or securing your future, you can count on Boulay to go beyond addressing just financial matters and providing you with tailor-made, workable solutions. Learn about all they have to offer at BoulayGroup.com. Boulay, helping you get there. In addition to our amazing prospering and thriving level supporters, we want to shine a spotlight on our equally amazing evolving level supporters. Alliant Insurance Services, Bauer Design Build, Beyond Design Resource Group, Entrabank, Fluid Interiors, and Modern Foundation. All of the Coalition 9 community supporters can be found at coalition9.com/community-supporters.
All right, we're back here with Laura Cohen. Laura, I can imagine you've done some pretty crazy things, jumping ship from Michigan, going to Oklahoma, coming to Minneapolis. So you've got some cool experiences and stuff like that. So I have a feeling you don't get phased very easily. How are you feeling about 9 questions today?
I'm going to go for it. I trust you. I trust
good.
you.
As you should. No reason not to. All right. Can you confirm to me you have no idea what I'm about to ask you?
Oh, absolutely not.
Okay, good. All right. Some of these are regurgitated from previous episodes and stuff like that. So you might have a little key in if you're a listener. Otherwise, I got a new one or two in here too. You are a lifelong learner. Tell me a little bit about what you are reading or listening to. Are you a reader or are you a listener? Do you listen to audiobooks or do you read books?
I'm a reader.
Okay.
This might tell you something. I belong to 2 book groups.
There we go.
I was asked to be in a poetry group, which is out of my comfort zone, but it has encouraged me to read and understand poetry. So, yeah. So I'll say I read one nonfiction all at the same time. My friends say, how can you do that? I read one, usually memoir, one fiction book and one nonfiction book simultaneously, depending on my mood, which one I want to be reading.
So most recently, what are those? Let's go this way with that question. What is the nonfiction book and fiction book that you have recently either are consuming or are just consumed?
I think I'd have to go look. It doesn't come to the top of mind just because you know how that goes.
Right. Yeah, I know how it goes. All right. Well, do you have a book recommendation of one that just pops in your mind of like, that's a damn good book?
Well, I've been reading a lot of William Kruger. He's a Minneapolis writer, and he writes in a very unique way that just keeps you very engaged. And he does a deep dive into characterization of each one of the people he introduces in the book. And there's some truth, history interspersed with that. And I just read his newest novel, and it talks a lot about the Native Americans, their land, and he intersperses it with a story, if you will.
Yeah, cool. I think my mom and her sisters do a little bit of a book club thing, and they trade the books around, and I think he's on their docket of one of the authors. And so I've heard that name before. But yeah, I'm not a huge reader on that aspect of things. I listen to books. So I'll have to check him out though. That's good.
You know
what is? Yeah, go ahead.
You say about visual and hearing. I one time a friend of mine is a psychologist. She said, "I want to do. Can I practice on you?" And she actually did a test to see if I fell within the range of visual, audio, how I learned better or absorbed information. It's definitely the visual.
And the visual side. I mean, I'm all audio, right? Like my memory works better audibly and everything like that. If I read something, I forget it right away. I just move on. What is one thing that immediately makes you smile?
I would say the sun makes me smile.
Yeah, it sure does. Boy, we had some gloomy days this spring, and then once that sun came out, it's like it just changes the dynamic of the whole day, doesn't it?
Well, what I notice is what it does to everybody else. One day, I mean, people can go around looking very dour, and the next they're all happy, and I equate it to, oh yeah, it's a nice day.
Yep. What is one guilty pleasure that you indulge in?
Having frozen yogurt.
There we go. I'm an ice cream guy, frozen yogurt guy. What's your favorite flavor? What's your go-to?
Well, I like getting the vanilla and then just putting fruit on top. Yeah. And smart. I could do that all day long.
Yeah, sweet. What is the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
That's a very good question. I know may not be strange to a lot of people, but I was at a dinner party, and for appetizer, they had frog legs, and I thought it was like, chicken wings or something like that. Yeah. So it was a little bit of a surprise when I heard otherwise.
My wife and her mom go, and my wife doesn't try them, but there's a bar north of Winona on the Wisconsin side that has got frog legs. I can't remember the name of it, but that just sounds disgusting. I think you mentioned this, but let's just reiterate it. When I say the word mentor, who do you think of and why?
So there's a woman in the business community, Myrna Moravsky, who actually is an author. She chairs the Women's Professional Organization. She's done a lot of amazing things with her life, and she makes it seem as though it's effortless. And she's always been encouraging and supportive of everything I've done.
Awesome definition of any mentor, regardless of gender or organization or anything like that. That's awesome. What is one of your hidden talents?
I would like to say hidden maybe, but not talent. It would be the, dancing or something along those lines. I don't sing and I can't sound like a goat, like maybe
like Whitney Emanuel.
Like a past, I guess.
Oh, that's great.
I got such a kick out of that. I tried to practice different sounds, but no, didn't work.
That's a good one. What, any specific kind of dance?
I love rock and roll and any kind of music that's danceable. And I would say that sometimes if I'm somewhere and it's great music, I go to a lot outdoor concerts, Excelsior Commons in the summer, and just all over. So I would like to say sometimes it's chair dancing because you're moving in your chair.
Yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah. All right. So bringing back some of the little bit of a music theme, what is the best concert that you've ever attended?
I would say it was Tower of Power at the Dakota.
Really? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dakota's that's a good venue, isn't it?
It is. And for a city our size, I mean, it's really phenomenal who they bring in.
I know. And there's people from the underground that they come in and they'll play shows and stuff like that. And you don't even know that they're going to be there. And it's like, man, if you're there on one of those nights, watch out.
Yeah. I saw Mark Cohn there, not a relative. And it's up front, close, personal, really nice.
Where do you go or what do you do for creative inspiration?
So I really like attending art where there's any kind of art display or artists doing their craft. I also think that being outdoors just inspires me in a lot of different ways. And I always think it's really important that I make sure I define creativity, not just specific to, how people maybe in painting or whatever. The creativity can also be how you view a circumstance. I try and be creative with my clients to be able to help them a little bit differently. So we'll do a creative session, if you will.
Yeah. Love it. All right. Number 9, you've survived 1 through 8 already. This one's a little more philosophical, so there's no right or wrong answer here. It's just whatever's on your heart and whatever's in your gut. How do you define success?
I think, and the fact that you asked that question is interesting to me on a couple of accounts because I think it changes. Mm-hmm. I would say when I was younger, what I thought success has shifted. And success to me at this point is that I'm in a good place, happy, and most importantly, healthy. And in the past, it was more maybe achieving a certain different kind of goal.
Yeah. Good answer. Anything happiness is you throw the word happy in there, I'm all in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, you survived. Great job. I think as I've gotten to know you, I will say too, we haven't really talked about this. You do a great job from a philanthropic standpoint. You've served on boards in the past. So that is stuff that people can all find on your LinkedIn profile. You're on our board for the C9 Gives Foundation, which when this podcast comes out, it has not been launched yet. So let's just we'll put a little teaser out there for the C9 Gives Foundation and what we're doing together with the rest of our board. That'll get launched a little later this summer. But, I'm just such a believer in you. You obviously took a chance on us early on and being a facilitator and part of our team. And it's one of the strongest groups that we have, most dedicated groups. And I just look at that as a testament to your leadership. So I can't thank you enough for just being part of our Coalition 9 team, having a positive impact on the lives that you have, and just doing all the good work that you do.
Well, I really appreciate all the opportunities that you've presented to me, as well as the people that you cultivate to be on the Coalition 9 team, as well as the Aaron team. Amazing.
Yeah,
I'm very excited about the foundation aspect. It'll be fabulous, really.
I'm very excited about it. Like I'm getting tired of keeping it.
I know, right?
We got to get this next board meeting under our belt so we can move on and start sharing it with the world. Okay, so more people need to know you. They need to get to know who you are, things like that. How can people get a hold of you?
I think the best way is going on LinkedIn and taking a look. My email is there as well, Laura F. Cohen, Cohen, @gmail.com. I would love to hear from people if I can be a resource. So it's not even if they want to do business with me, but I know a lot of talented people I'd love to connect them to as well.
You're awesome. Well, Laura, again, I'm super pumped to have you as part of the community. I'm excited for what the future holds for all of us. I'm very proud of the fact that you took a leap with me to come on this show. I know this isn't your jam, but that shows your trust in me that I was going to handle it with care and respect. And I think we did a great job, and we stuck to our guns on this.
Oh, you did. And you know how some people have a word for the year? I had a phrase, get out of your comfort zone. So thank you for helping me fulfill that.
All right. First of many podcasts for Laura Cohen. All right. On behalf of Laura, this has been the Power of 9 podcast. I'm your host, Aaron Eggert, and I want to thank you for the privilege of your time.